Rangers Islanders, always fun. This was a back-to-back at Nassau Coliseum. First game between these two teams on Long Island. First three had been at MSG. And I thought that the Rangers should be mostly proud about these two games. I think that, again, it's a continuation of splitting these back-to-backs. The Rangers have played a load of back-to-backs, and again, in most cases, it's alternating win and loss, and that does continue. But I think that, given the circumstances, and, obviously the Islanders are, one of the best teams in the division, I definitely think that the Rangers played pretty well in these two games. And as far as the first game was concerned, I felt like the Rangers had a decent chance only because of the fact that the Islanders were coming off a win against the Flyers in the shootout. So, and the Rangers were coming off a really just not playing well against Pittsburgh, a poor loss at home against Pittsburgh. So you combine those two things, and it didn't show that the Rangers were going to play good hockey. Literally, it was the next night. What was also interesting, it was Georgiev in net for the Rangers, Varlamov for the Islanders. Alexander Georgiev hadn't played in 3 weeks, but this guy really owns the Islanders. I don't know what it is, because he's really been mediocre at best against other teams, especially this year. But against the Islanders, he's a different goaltender. But beyond Georgiev, the Rangers were the better team in that first game. No doubt about it. The Rangers really played a very good game. And the first period, not a whole lot from that. Basically, back and forth, pretty even. But the Rangers would get on the board in the second period. And I think what was the most exciting thing about these two games was that the young kids really showed up in a big way. I was about as impressed with the kids as I've probably been all year. When you consider the opponent, again, this is a very defensive-minded team in the Islanders, and the Hedl line, and then Kravtsov was great. I mean, Vitaly Kravtsov seems like he is NHL ready, and it's great to have him over, and I'm very excited about what he can become. So Alexis Lafreniere starts the scoring, and it was a greasy goal. Puck was loose in front, assists by Kakko and Hedl, and really nice goal for Lafreniere, his 7th of the season. So everyone kind of, wants Lafreniere to put up crazy numbers, and, slowly but surely, he's getting there, 7 goals in about 40 games, in a full season. Yep, it's probably going to be around 15 or so, and maybe even better, because he's probably going to improve. So he's doing what he needs to do. I thought Panarin was buzzing in that first game, and Colin Blackwell would score his 12th goal of the season. I mean, Blackwell has been a goal machine this year. What a great find for the Rangers. Again, someone who's bounced around in different organizations, most recently with the Predators, and Blackwell has just been a great fit. 12th goal of the year, makes it 2-0. And not too far after, the Islanders would make it 2-1. Andy Green, his first goal as an Islander in the regular season. He had scored a few goals in the playoffs, but Andy Green gets his first. So it's 2-1. And I'm thinking, all right, going to the third, up 2-1 all year long, the Rangers would blow this game. All year long. The Rangers would, at best, get the game to overtime. Not so much in this game. Brilliant third period, and they get the insurance goal they needed. Keandre Miller, another kid. Assist from Trouba and Panarin. So 2 points from Panarin, and, Miller with a great slap shot, gets it through Varlamov, makes a 3-1 game, and then Zibanejad would add an empty net goal. I did not love the Zibanejad line in that first game much at all. Again, I liked, the play of the kids. I thought that the Miller-Trouba pair was actually good. But just a really solid all-around game. Now, let's talk about game 2. So, my thoughts on this one were, based on everything I've seen from both teams this year, Islanders are definitely going to win this game. No doubt about it, Islanders will win. And they did. But it was actually a lot closer than I thought it would be. Much closer. And it was impressive. So this would be Shesterkin versus Sorokin, the first matchup between these two. And I thought both goaltenders played well. Absolutely. So, but here's the Rangers. What you can count on is, especially after the win, especially after they win a game, the first period in the next game, they just don't play well. And that happened again. They just didn't have that bite, didn't have that intensity. The Islanders took it to them. And Chris Kreider, who I am so disappointed in this game. I'm not surprised. This is a guy in Kreider. And let me just say this first. Kreider takes just a bad delay game penalty like 2 minutes into the game. Chris Kreider, he's done it again. He will go on a tear, like a 10-game absolute goal tear. And it'll be completely invisible and a non-factor for the next 20 games. He's been doing this his entire career. And again, this is why that contract extension last season, not a smart one. I would have preferred trade him, and you could have gotten a good haul back for him. But Kreider's game, I know he's a bit of a fan favorite, probably more than a bit of a fan favorite. I think people are starting to see, I mean, his 5-on-5 play is poor. He's just a guy he's a net front presence who, can get those close-in goals, good on deflections. He's very fast. He doesn't really always use that speed well, but Kreider with a really bad delay of game. And Kreider would eventually be demoted to the fourth line in favor of Kravtsov, which I agreed with, but we'll talk about the fact where it wasn't a straight demotion. So the Islanders would score on that power play. Kyle Palmieri is first as an Islander. Right in front of the net, gets the goal, makes it 1-0. And as the period's going on, I'm thinking, Rangers had some chances here and there, but it was more, get out of this period 1-0. Get out of this period 1-0. Because the Rangers, if they give up late period goals, and I've seen the Islanders score late period goals, and what do you know? Spanish deadline was on. They kind of put it in the corner, and they weren't able to grind it out and end the period. Barzal comes streaking down the ice, drops it off to Everly, one-timer to Pajot, and it's 2-0 Islanders. So, a total backbreaker. And I thought at that point, okay, game over. This is done. Down 2-0 against the Islanders, not going to come back. But give these guys credit. Played a very, very good second and third period. Goals, second of the season by Hayek, third of the season by Smith. How unexpected. The third defensive pair guys would get the goals in the second period. And it would be the Hayek goal was the Hedl line. Hedl would take a shot, and he took a little bit, honestly, I felt like he took too long in taking that shot, but Kakko retrieves the puck, gets it back to Hayek, there's traffic in front, and it goes in. Makes it 2-1. Next goal, a couple minutes later, around the midway point of the game, Smith's goal was a design play for the Zibanejad line, and at this point it's with Buchnevich and Kravtsov, where they get it back, and Buchnevich is a really nice play where he shoots the puck quickly because the two Islanders guys were on him. It goes to Kravtsov. He makes a beautiful play to get it to Zibanejad, gets it back to Smith, goal. First point of Kravtsov's career, and it was deserved. And again, I'm excited to see what this kid's going to do because I like what I've seen already. So it makes it 2-2. And the rest of the regulation time was exciting. Really exciting, a lot of back and forth. Rangers had their chances. They really, really did to win this game at certain points. But it didn't happen. They weren't able to do it. But I felt like still, I was impressed with the fact that they got it to overtime. We've seen this team struggle in those situations to not even get points. So just to get it to overtime, and once you get there, it's a bit of a crapshoot in a 3-on-3, but I will talk about it. I think they need to improve in that area. But just good. You would have loved to have won the game, but again, just the way they held on to the lead the first game, the way they came back in the second game, were able to get it to overtime, good signs, baby steps. So, unfortunately, in the overtime, after he has Zibanejad, Panarin, and Fox on, Quinn, he decides to go with Strome, Kreider, and Miller. Now, Strome's game tonight I thought was, honestly, really, even though Panarin was really good in game one, I thought Strome's game in these two games were bad. Against your former team, would have been nice if he could have, had a big moment. And I just didn't love, and this is a guy who's been playing very well for weeks, don't get me wrong, but I did not like Strome's game at all tonight. And he puts out Kreider with him also, but that's not when the goal would happen. There would be a face-off, and they would switch Kreider with Hedl. So it would be Strome, Hedl, and Miller, and Barzal was on for the Islanders. And there was different ways to go with this. And I know it's 3-on-3, but hey, these points are important just in terms of, these are key parts of the game. So even though you can kind of laugh at like, well, come on, it's just 3-on-3. There is ways to improve your chances. And I just think it would have been nice to have seen some of the kids who were playing well get in there. And you could have even potentially maybe even gone back to Zibanejad, Panarin, and Fox. I just think Strome, who wins the faceoff, and then Heedle's out there. It was a weird combination. I think he had Heedle out there as a second center. Like if Strome got thrown out. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. But even that, Heedle's not a great faceoff guy. So they lose the puck. And I believe Barzal feeds it to Pulock, and he scores. Pulock's first goal of the season in a big spot there. So, again, the tone for me is mostly positive. Just, again, you want the Rangers to kind of just be on the periphery. I'd be shocked if they make the playoffs. They're 4 points behind the Bruins. The Bruins have 2 games in hand. But you just want them to at least be playing, key games down the stretch. And it doesn't hurt to play a little bit of spoil along the way, too. If they can hurt the Islanders from winning the division or getting first place, that's great as well. So now the Rangers have 4 straight games against the Devils. This will be interesting. I can't recall this year there even being like 3 straight games against a team. There's been tons of back-to-backs, but now you have 4 in a row with the Devils. And I've said this year, it's really tough in these back-to-backs, no matter who it's against. The Rangers have split a lot of games. So this will be interesting. Now it's not just 2, it's 4 games in a row. The first game being at Jersey, next to MSG, then back to Jersey. So it would be nice to see the Rangers somehow find a way to, at least get, 6-7 points in these games. At least win 3 of the 4 at bare minimum, just to make things somewhat interesting. And the trade deadline's tomorrow, and the Devils are trading away a lot of players. They are starting to get worse. I respect the fact that seems like it's a gritty team. It seems like they play hard under roughs. And honestly, they've split, like, the Devils won both games at MSG earlier in the year, and then the Rangers won both at Newark. So it'll be interesting to see these next 4. And again, and then we're going to see, more Islanders this year. So a lot of local teams, but 15 games to go. And I like what I'm seeing from the kids. Don't love what I'm seeing from guys like Kreider. And I hope that David Quinn and company continue or try to get the youngsters more playing time. That's just beneficial in so many ways. And it seems like they're getting a little bit better at that, but there's room for improvement. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. If there's any big trade deadline news that goes down, regarding the Rangers, we'll talk about it. I'm not expecting anything major. At most, maybe a couple of minor depth trades, maybe trading away some depth forwards. Something of that sort is possible. I wouldn't expect any blockbuster type moves. Would be really shocked, but we'll see. It's always, the trade deadline's kind of always a bit of a letdown. So, maybe with low expectations, we'll be surprised by, some interesting possibilities. So I'll talk to you soon. And, hopefully the Rangers can continue on playing better hockey.